I want to take you on a brief tour of the new StationLogXL for shortwave listeners. This is an Excel-based logging program that works with Excel 2007 and later for both Mac and PC. It also works in Apple Numbers, and it works on Apache OpenOffice Calc, which is a free Excel clone available at openoffice.org. It also works in the cloud on Office 365, and it works with newer iOS and Android smartphones and tablets that have the current version of Excel in them. The instructions are pretty intuitive, basically just definitions of what to put where in the data entry sheet. The program itself is based in Excel, and it's an Excel database, so all the data entry is done on this particular sheet. There's no calculations done on this sheet, but you enter the date, the time, the call sign of the station you're receiving, a description such as Voice of Greece or Voice of Iran. The frequency can be entered in megahertz or kilohertz. The band is selected from a drop-down list, and there's two sets of bands. The first band is for shortwave radio. The second is for amateur bands. Then you've got a mode, which is also in a drop-down list, and you can add some customized modes. A signal report, the type of station, for example, amateur, broadcast, military, pirate, maritime, or number stations can be put in here. You can also customize those. The type of programming and the language, the city, the shortwave country. There's a drop-down box with all of the, I believe there's 197 geopolitical country entities. The amateur DX entity, a lot of shortwave listeners try to listen to and QSL to amateurs, and there are 340 DXCC or DX entities in the drop-down box there. The continent, the receiver that you use, the antenna you use, miscellaneous and notes, the QTH or location, whether you were at home or portable, maybe on the road, and a QSL sent or received. And then you have two different country reports. This is the geopolitical report for shortwave bands. You've got your shortwave bands at the top. You can select the mode, the start date, and the end date. And then the report will highlight, for example, here I listened to China on 60 meters. The next tab is the amateur DX entity. There's 340 DX entities in this report, and the bands correspond to the amateur bands rather than the shortwave bands. Then there's a band tab, which is really cool. It's got reference material on the bands, the amateur bands and the shortwave bands. So an incredibly easy and intuitive logging program. There's a lot of filtering available in the database itself. You could go back to a specific date range a couple years ago, select whether you want to listen or find the 80 meter band, for example, just CW, and just amateur transmissions from your home QTH using a specific receiver like the R500 Yaesu receiver. And it will pull up just those log entries based on the criteria that you preset with these little drop-down buttons. So you can change how the data entry sheet shows the data for you too, as well as use these two real powerful reports back in the other tabs of the logbook.